And I love bringing my kids here for experiences just like this. Now, sometimes you can't go in everything. I don't want to give the wrong impression. They're giving us special permission today to kind of check out some of the artifacts up close and personal. The airplanes here are so fantastic. It's so educational. That's what I love about this place. Now, yesterday, I had the opportunity to talk to Sergeant Aaron Pidzamecki about his role with the Argylls right here in Hamilton.
We're supporting individual training in the local area. So these are things like recruit courses, skill courses, and we put together the course timetables, make sure that there's instructors and candidate positions and all the equipment and material support for that.
Okay, so that seems like it would be pretty time consuming for you.
It's a very, very busy operational job. We have a lot of really good people though that help to make it run smoothly and make sure that we're putting people in the right place at the right time.
I love that, the structure and the actual, I want to say regiment of it all, is that how perfectly you guys managed to put everything together.
You know, it certainly seems that way on the outside.
It does, it really does.
But we definitely have our fair share of ups and downs and you know, quick returns and things like that.
Yeah.
But a lot of our training is designed to make it so that we're able to handle high stress situations, complex scenarios, and make timely decisions.
Tell me about Operation Laser.
Operation Laser was the Canadian Armed Forces response during the COVID-19 pandemic. And so in response to requests for assistance from provincial governments, here in Ontario, our soldiers deployed in support of long-term care facilities primarily. And I started off working in Hamilton with our local response and then eventually deployed for a month in Toronto with one of our units that was in long-term care facilities, providing daily assistance to them.
What was that like? Because that's kind of not something you would expect to do in your position.
It was a very unique experience, and for our frontline soldiers, this was very different from what they had trained for in their occupational training.
Absolutely.
And they were confronted with Canadian citizens who were often in varying degrees of distress, and it was very challenging emotionally. I think that was the biggest unique aspect of this mission, was the emotional challenge of serving the Canadian population and our citizens like that, and in that intimate manner.
And I'm assuming that you guys received some emotional support with that while you were caring for us, essentially.
Absolutely. One of the things that the Canadian Armed Forces has is the military chaplaincy branch, and they are operating with our soldiers. They can provide frontline support, counseling services, and emotional support and spiritual support. Our soldiers also received briefings before they deployed into the long-term care facilities about this aspect of the mission specifically. And then further to that, when our soldiers come back from any deployment, we have other employee assistance programs and supports across the whole spectrum of care, from counseling to clinical services.
That's incredible. I love to hear stuff like that. Now, from the long-term care homes, you went kind of straight to Lebanon.
It was a very short turnaround. I found out that same summer that I'd been selected to deploy on Operation Impact in the Middle East with the Canadian Training Assistance Team Lebanon, and very quickly got my training done and then deployed in February of 2021.
Wow, that's incredible. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us. We're going to be joining Tim and Annette from the Canadian Warplane Heritage Museum right after this. This plane, this is the Dakota. Flew in World War II. In the 30s, it used to be a passenger plane, and then it was converted, flew on D-Day. I had a great day yesterday talking to members of the Argylls, and I talked to Sergeant Lloyd John Dew about his time with the Argylls and his decision to join.
In 2009, when I joined, I had a really good friend of mine that was originally part of the Argylls, and he mentioned it to me. So I came down, and I looked around, and I signed up. And then since then, it's just been very eventful, but I'm very grateful that I made that decision to join. I made good friends, lifelong friends, and had the opportunity to do some really cool things as well.
And how long have you been in the...
So as of now, I've been with the Argylls for 14, going on 15 years.
Wow.
And grateful to accomplish the rank of a sergeant within that time.
Oh, well, congratulations. That's great.
Thank you.
Tell me about Op Reassurance.
So I deployed an Op Reassurance in 2019 with 1 RCR battle group. So the Op there is to deter aggression against the Baltic states. So we were in Latvia. I was employed as a dismounted 2IC within the battle group, roaming around Latvia in armored vehicles, what we call LAV 6s as of now. And then we just conducted training exercises, live fire exercises, working with host nations and with the other nations there as well. just, bolstering the capability of the LAF and, there to do what we need to do if it came down to it.
Now, I know that your training obviously tries to prepare you for life in another country, but what's it really like? Like, what did your training kind of leave out when you get there?
Just being away from home. That was my first deployment at that time, rank of corporal. It's just being away from home for 6 months. Also the time difference, so it's difficult to communicate back with family and friends.
Yeah.
Some of the technology that we're using wouldn't always be appropriate.
Be reliable.
Depending
I
where you're at.
can't get signal out here, that kind of thing.
Exactly, right? So you're stuck in the middle of the bush somewhere.
Yeah.
You can't really get signal. But there's some time, there's home leave travel assistance where you can go back home for about 2 weeks, visit friends and family.
Oh, that's
and
nice.
then reconnect, and then you're back onto the mission again.
Tell me about Operation Impact.
Operation Impact, so that's where I deployed to Lebanon. The first time I was there, I was part of the winter mobile training team. So my job there was to assist the Lebanese armed forces with their winter skills.
Wow, how was that?
Great. To be serious, at first I didn't think that there was going to be much snow. But
I was going to say, how cold does it get there? Like, they're not like our Canadian winters.
No, it's, it does get chilly, but it's not terribly cold. But there is snow, and there's lots of snow. When it comes down hard and fast. So we're doing things like teaching them improvised shelters, teaching them how to start a fire out in the woods, how to survive overnight out in the woods, in the snow and in the mountains. So it's really great to see them hone their skill and become better with their winter skills. And that just makes me grateful for having the opportunity to deploy on that operation.
That's amazing. What's the best thing that you've taken from being part of the Argylls?
Family.
Yeah.
Family, friends. You always have someone there if you're going through a tough time, or you always have someone there to hang out with. I think it's everlasting bond that you'll have, and it's like no other. Yeah.
That's amazing. All right. Well, thanks so much for taking the time to chat with us today. We're going to throw things back to Tim and Annette from the Royal Heritage Plane Museum. And we're standing now in front of the Lancaster, so fingers crossed we're able to take this baby up tomorrow. Mostly cloudy day, sounding good. Yesterday, I had a chance to talk to members of the Argylls, and it was such a great experience for me. I learned a lot. Captain Derek Brunsfeld had the opportunity to take part in something called Stalwart Guardian. He explains his experience.
Exercise we do on an annual basis. We went to CFB Petawawa with all the units from southwestern Ontario, so the 4th Canadian Division. We do a 2-week exercise there, so just to hone our skills working as a cohesive unit. So you have artillery, infantry, and you go and you accomplish a mission with the largest
artillery?
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. And that's for 2 weeks?
Yes, it's a 2-week exercise.
2-week exercise. Okay, you were one of the first soldiers that were kind of deployed during the COVID-19 outbreak. I understand that you worked in some long-term care homes. What was that like for you?
It was definitely a big change from what I was used to, especially being in the infantry. It was a great experience being able to actually help the civilian population, the vulnerable. Definitely
challenging. And did you walk away with really great connections with people? Because I can only imagine how great that environment would have been to see people and to be helping people like that. They must have just adored you.
Yeah, you definitely some people that are very grateful for us being there, and then it was great for making friends with other people there as well, and just connections. And
what have you learned most? Do you think? Like, what's your biggest takeaway from being part of the Argylls?
Teamwork, probably.
Yeah.
It's a very close unit. You make some lifelong friends that you'll never stop talking to. They'll be there forever. And it's just being there for one another and getting the job done together.
You've always got buddies to help you move, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, I know you have a civilian career as well. So are you able to do kind of extracurricular activities and get out into the community?
Yes, exactly. So on the civilian career, I do construction. So being a reservist, we have training every Wednesday night, and then one weekend every month. So you have plenty of time to have a civilian career and a life outside of the military as well as being able to take some time off as well from my civilian employer as well to do longer courses and go on things like Operation Laser and Stalwart Guardian.
So I guess it's nice that you can kind of tell people, I want to come and I want to kind of work for you, but I've got these other obligations that I need to kind of, if something comes up, I'm out.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks so much for your time and for taking the time to talk to us today and explain a little stuff today, and congratulations on all your service. We think it's wonderful what you're doing for our country. We've got lots more coming up on Morning Live. We continue our interviews with these amazing soldiers from the Argylls. Still at the Canadian Heritage Warplane Museum, I'm learning so much about the heritage here. I'm learning all about the different types of airplane. For example, the one I was just standing at, that's the Yale. Bring the family, bring the kids tomorrow. A great ceremony as well as a huge educational experience. Soldiers in their role take on different positions all the time. Corporal Ethan Ashbaugh, who I got to speak to yesterday, spoke about his position with the Argylls.
I'm an infantry in a rifle company, so I belong to something called a section, so we're around 8 to 10 guys, and what we do, numerous different tasks. It could be navigation, it could be conducting offensive and defensive operations, general soldiering skills, and then throughout that, train on Wednesday nights and weekends, and we hone those different skills with different focuses throughout the training year. It could be urban operations, it could be cold weather survival, it could be navigation, like I said, and so we kind of rotate through and have different focuses, but work as a team and try and accomplish those tasks.
Can you decide kind of right off the bat, like what area of specialty you kind of want to go to or go into? Yeah.
I would really like to get on a course called BRP, Basic Reconnaissance Patrol. It's there's a couple guys in our unit that have it, and it seems like a really fun challenge where you get to do a lot of cool things.
Yeah, it looks cool.
It looks fantastic. It seems very grueling and difficult, but just the ability to be completely lost in the woods and you're in the middle of the bush and you can use a map and compass and you can find things quickly. Just, to me, that's really...
using your survivor skills.
It just seems like really desirable. It's
How long are you out there for?
I don't know too many specifics about the course. Like 2-3 weeks at a time would probably be in the... I think the course is like 2 or 3 months. Definitely physically demanding, but that's also why I'm attracted to it. It's very difficult.
So you can kind of continue to hone your skills and move up in the ranks at the same time, pretty much.
Yeah, and you get like you get a very specialized role, and you're more of an asset. There's more that you can do, and it's like you're more useful, which I like.
Yeah, that is definitely a plus. Is there a time for extracurriculars? I know you mentioned that you kind of train twice a week, but I mean, if you've got a civilian job, plus you're doing this, if you're potentially going to school at the same time, like there's so much going on in your life. What do you do that's kind of outside the Argylls?
I'm a university student here in Hamilton at McMaster,
Nice.
full time. Like I have a girlfriend, I train martial arts, I have a great social life. Like I don't know, I have fun. Like I'm a normal person outside of here, and school's fun. I really like the mix-up actually because like sitting in a classroom and being bored in a library all day and then being able to come here and
Your teachers are loving this, by the way.
that is what it is. Like
Yeah.
I don't know, I get to shoot guns and hang out with people who have real life experience and do things that I would never have imagined I would be able to do before. It's just such a nice contrast.
Yeah.
I like it.
So what does the future hold for you? Like, are you going to try and, do this as like a full-time? Because I know you got into the full-time summer program, correct?
100%, yeah.
Yeah. So
that works fantastic with school. It's a great way to be able to help pay with my tuition, and it just works well timing-wise. But I really don't plan on leaving this unit as long as my body works. This has really become a family to me, and the people that I've done my courses with are like brothers to me. And then people who have taught me on my courses, some of the best male role models and female too, just best role models I've seen in my life, and to be in this environment and have them around, I constantly have things to look towards of how I want to behave and how I want to be like when I grow up. I know I'm a grown up when I grow up more, I guess.
I say that too. I always say it when I grow up. Well, thank you so much. Congratulations on your service, and thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Coming up, we're going to rejoin Tim and Annette from the Canadian Warplane Heritage Museum.